there's been protesters killed in Iran. You said we were locked and loaded, ready to go. What is the line there for when the U.S. is going to get involved in those protests?
We'll take a look. We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Can I just add something? So when he first got elected in January, we met, biggest comeback ever. We talked about
you think so, really? I didn't feel it was a comeback, actually.
So
because the first one was...
The bottom line is, we talked about a drug caliphate in our backyard. We had Venezuela, we have Cuba, we have Colombia in our backyard. And these three countries have been condemned ever since I've been in politics. Joe Biden put a $25 billion bounty on Maduro's head. Chris Smith, the day he got inaugurated, said, I hope Trump will hold Maduro's feet to the fire. You did. So what has he done? He's going to clear our backyard of a drug caliphate, countries run by narco-terrorist dictators who murder, rape, send drugs into our country to kill thousands of our citizens. To my Democratic friends, you should be celebrating this. When bin Laden went down, I was the first to applaud President Obama. This was one of the most sophisticated military operations in the history of the country. What they were able to do was amazing. They knew we were coming. We had a good part of the Navy, and they were able to capture this man alive. No military in the world could have done it. And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
By the way, you mentioned something that's interesting. Lindsey mentioned bin Laden. I wrote about bin Laden 1 year before the attack on the World Trade Center. And I said, you got to go after bin Laden. It was in my book. And very few people want to say that, but it was in my book. You know that, I think. You've actually talked about it. But if they would have listened to me, they would have taken out bin Laden, and you wouldn't have had the World Trade Center tragedy.
Yeah, this is certainly going...
Did you know that? I predicted bin Laden.
I learned something every day.
No, but did you hear that?
Well, I didn't now. I just heard it right now.
No, I wrote a book. It was 1 year before the attack that the book came out, and it talked about, there's a whole page, a whole section dedicated to a guy named bin Laden who's a bad guy who you have to take out.
So I'll get the book. But right after the election, he told me, I'm going to clean up our backyard. Now, this was before he took office. This is one of the president's priorities, is to make sure that people in our backyard, narco-terrorist states, will not continue to kill Americans without the number of people that will be alive today because Venezuela will be in different hands is going to be tens of thousands. This is something to be celebrated, whether you like him or not.
Not just Venezuela. It's what's coming out of Venezuela in the form of ocean-going and Gulf-going and sea-going boats. Every time we knock out a boat, and we've done a lot of them, we did 3 over the last few days, they're very rare now. You don't see too many of them. But drugs by sea are down 97%. Think of that. And now we're going to stop them by land, too. The land is easy. We had to do the sea before we did the land because it just works out.
Yeah, you were just talking about the land, but it sounded like you
And by the way, you have to do something with Mexico. Mexico has to get their act together because they're pouring through Mexico, and we're going to have to do something. We'd love Mexico to do it. They're capable of doing it, but unfortunately the cartels are very strong in Mexico.